My name is Gideon Pollach, and I'm the Rector of St. John's Episcopal Church here in Cold Spring Harbor, and I'm honored to be one among the candidates to be the next Bishop of Massachusetts. The Transition Committee have asked us all to speak on 3 questions, which I'm going to take out of order, and I'm going to address the question of my favorite Bible passage first. My favorite passage of Scripture is and has been the passage about the transfiguration of Jesus. And that story, if you remember it, is about how Jesus was accompanied by Peter, James, and John as he went up a high mountain. And because Peter, James, and John stood awake, they were able to see the full glory of God being revealed in Jesus. This passage is important to me and has been for a long time, ever since I first met the living God on the top of a mountain at the Cathedral Shrine of the Transfiguration in Orkney Springs, Virginia. And as I've grown, this passage has only become more important. I think this passage is all about how if we stay close to Jesus and watch, we will see the full glory of God being revealed in our lives and in our church. We'll see, if we watch for where God is active, we'll see transfiguration happen. And you and I can also be transfigured by the glory of God as we participate in the saving work of God in the world. If we listen and stay awake, then we too can be transfigured as individuals, as churches, as dioceses, and maybe even as a denomination. And this informs how I understand who God is, my image of God. It's a funny question, really, because I was just talking about this with a parishioner who is new to St. John's, who has just come back to the church after decades away, following a spiritual path, but not particularly grounded in any religious tradition. And now they've had a child, and they want to find their way back to a church to support them in that journey. And I shared with that person what I'll share with you, which is that I've always seen God as my transfiguring companion. God living deep within me and transfiguring me from within. That this Jesus, who is my companion, never leaves me and lovingly leads me into greater life from within, dismantling within me all that no longer serves me, all that no longer leads to freedom, and lovingly leading me into deeper connection to my neighbors, to the creation, and to deepening compassion. The third question that you've asked me to answer is about the ways in which we've centered and uplifted young adults, young people, and youth in our ministries. And this is a vital question to me, because so much of my ministry has been centered on young people. Since I first met God in summer camp, I've wanted to have that experience again. And so I returned to that same summer camp where I was a camp counselor. And I've been privileged since then to work with so many young people who have found themselves and God in the church's ministries, like camps, schools, and chaplaincies. I've worked for more than half my life with young people, first as a youth minister, then as a missioner for young adults in New York City, and as a boarding school chaplain, and now as the rector of a church and the parent of teenage children. And from that work, I've come to know how many, many young people have found affirmation for their full selves in their communities of faith. And in a world where kids are expected to achieve in so many contexts, from sports to school to social lives, the church, with all of our imperfections, can be a safe place for them. One person in particular stands out. I knew a person at EHS who, in the midst of all of those other pressures, also was questioning their gender identity. And they found it to be a surprise that the institution of the church supported them as they explored these very personal, deep, and important questions. And in a Christian culture that's so often aligned with nationalism, triumphalism, and white supremacy, it can be a joyful surprise to people when they find that people like them, people like me, and maybe people like you, people seeking to know God and themselves, can find a home in the Episcopal Church. And that's a vision of the church that continues to inspire me. There are many communities of faith that, like young people, are already living the church's future in the present. Young people have a privileged view of what the church can become without the burden of institutional expectations. The church they are living in, the church of the future, is inclusive, multicultural, seeking freedom in Christ, and deeply committed to the idea of the reign of God. The spiritual practices of that church connect them to the past, and they include deep commitments to prayer and personal holiness. The practices that connect them and lead them into the future include standing together against systemic oppression, against injustice, and with the creation. Many young people are in that church already, living God's future in the present. I am and have been inspired by the passion of the Diocese of Massachusetts and your long history of moving the church into God's future. I look forward to being with you in a few short days, and I ask you for your prayers, and I assure you of mine. Thank you.